Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm EVM, and a few years ago I did this to this garage, essentially putting a floor down, the sort of jigsaw rubber flooring that you see quite a lot of online and in shops and Amazon and places like that, as well as painting all the walls and moving the charge point over there and just making it look a lot nicer so I could detail cars, my own cars, because I used to do it professionally, more effectively, and it's just a nicer place to work. But I also use it as a mini studio of sorts, sometimes when we get a press car, sometimes when I'm just doing something related to an EV, and it's a controlled-ish environment to do that sort of thing in. Well, I think it's time for a bit of a refurb, because not only do I not have time to film and do the refurb, so I thought I'd combine the two. Let me move this car out of the way and I'll show you exactly what I mean, because I want to see what's underneath this floor after a few years of crap just coming off the car, salt, dirt and just grime. And of course this is an electric car, so it weighs a lot and it's been sat on this for a few years. Electric cars can bring car parks down apparently, so I wonder what it's done to this rubber flooring. Well, as you can see here, it's full of lots of surface crap, and it's the bit in between these sort of jigsaw pieces really here that I'm interested in. I mean, I don't know what that is. It could be solid, it could be just dust, it could be grime. You've got all the stuff from the wet cars that have dumped their load on it. In fact, what's all this here? It's almost like a salt stuff, I guess, from the winter that we've kind of just gone through. So the plan is to pull all this up here in order, one by one, out onto the drive, clean it, see what's underneath, put it back down, and then going to redo all the edges, which is going to be fun, the sort of skirting boards if you will. Lots of little touch-ups to do. That's new there, the jet wash, which I'll show you in a second, so that's permanently plumbed in. And there's a lot of damage here from when we got the new garage doors done, so all this needs redoing as well. Yeah, that's effectively it. Let's start the long process of taking the floor up and hopefully putting it back down in the same place. Well, as you can see from this, we have water. Only a sheen, you know, it is enough there to be bothered about. And it is pretty much confined to where the car essentially sits. The water doesn't get any chance at all to dry out from all the stuff that falls off the car. It's probably not had a wet car on here for about 3 weeks. Granted, the month or so before that it was essentially constant rain, so every time the car came back in the garage, anything that was sat on the car or in the you know, around the wheels, underneath, dropped onto here, and then it has to go somewhere. Some of it will evaporate, but obviously some of it's getting down the cracks underneath, and yeah, this needs properly drying out. And the one thing I have learned from doing this is that this needs to be a once, twice yearly event where I pull everything out. This is going to have to be cleaned and then leave it to dry for longer than I thought. Now, as luck would have it, or rather, I've planned this down to the letter, because I want that concrete base to dry, properly dry. We're actually going on holiday in, well, the day after tomorrow, essentially. So tomorrow, all the floor should be dry, as I said, and then I can essentially give just over a week for the concrete base to completely dry. So yeah, I'll probably see you maybe when I've got a tan. Maybe. I don't really tan very well. Alright, so not much of a tan, but I think it's the light levels of the camera that make me look paler than I actually am. Anyway, we've dried this out over the last week, obviously, whilst we've not been here. This is bone dry. But one thing that it has highlighted to me is why I put the floor down in the first place, the rubber mats, if you will. And that's the sheer amount of dust that this stuff gives off. This car was spotless before it went in the car a week ago, and now it's, I don't want to press too hard, well, you can write your name in it. It's covered in dust. Ugh. Anyone that's got a concrete floored garage will, well, you'll recognise this, I imagine. And again, that's why the floor's down here. So let me get this out and give it a bit of a brush, I suppose, and then I can get the floor back down after I've painted the fake skirting boards. There's the floor. I'll just give it a bit of a sweep. You can see it's bone dry now. I've touched up that black bit there and redone all the fake skirting boards, as I said. So that's all been done. I need to do a little bit at the end, but effectively the floor is now ready to go down and I can get the car back in. Now, as I said earlier, it's a doddle to put down, so I'm just going to try and put the edges in first and the front and just work my way back. First row down, guess we'll keep going. Finally, it's done, it's down. Only probably took about, I reckon, half an hour. Bit of fiddling. That's all been painted, that's all been painted. The back skirting board's been painted as well. That wall hasn't, because something else needs to be here. I don't know what. I'm gonna think of something else to do. But ultimately, we're back where we started. Let me show you a few additions from last time, which have made it much easier to clean or detail, whichever you want to call it, cars. That is the jet wash. So essentially what I've done there is got a really long, I think it's 15-metre cable from the lance to that in there, the actual jet wash. So it goes all the way along there, through the wall, to the jet wash, which is always plugged in over there and always ready to just turn and we're up and running. And then all these geeky car cleaning stuff, as well as a full drawer of microfibers, more microfibers and other stuff that you won't be bothered about. And there we go, I've got 3 drawers of the stuff. Clearly, if you've got one of these floors, you're gonna wanna pull it up at least once a year, maybe twice. I guess it depends on what's going in, but yeah, that I was unaware of. I guess it's kind of obvious really. Water will get through, but will take an age to dry, especially in winter when you're almost every day dragging in new water, ice that's fallen off and things like that. Oh, and in case you're wondering, these little patches on the wall here are perfectly placed. There's one on either side, well, 2 on either side. So when someone opens the doors of the Tesla, they don't go thump into a solid wall. It's at least got a bit of cushioning going on. So it's, yeah, it's worked actually, because a few times, I won't say anybody in particular. A few times someone's opened it up. In fact, you can see the dings in the cushion bit there, and it saved it. There's no chips on the edge of the doors or anything. Who would have thought that water going under a semi-sealed floor won't evaporate and will, well, keep it wet? Little tip for you there that you probably didn't realise beforehand. I do have another question for those cyclists out there. What do I do with the bicycle? The trouble is, if I put one here, it's out of the way, which is good, but then when you get out of the car, boom, I guess I could put it over there on the back wall, but again, when you go in the boot, that could be a pain in the butt. I mean, I'm kind of spoiled with having an actual garage you can put a car in. What options are out there other than just a simple, you know, hook sticking out of the wall that you put it onto? Is there some magic thing I've not thought of? Links are all like that in the comments to some cool bicycle sort of options. In fact, is there anything that you can put in the corner for a bike? You know, I guess where the wheels turn. I don't know. Right, well, I think it's about 65, maybe 70% of people that watch my videos, on average, don't subscribe or are not subscribers, which is why a lot of videos have to be designed for people who've never seen the channel before. So please do subscribe. It really does make a huge difference. Just interact. Watch the video. If you see an advert from a sponsored link on any channel, not just my own, click on it. You don't have to buy anything, but clicking on it means that the sponsor will appreciate the marketing that it gets from whoever's video that you're doing it on, or just typing in a comment. This is why YouTube channels do the like, subscribe, comment thing. The more interaction there is with a video, the more YouTube, the algorithm pushes it. So that's why people say this sort of crap at the end of every video that you see, and most people skip. So I'm talking to the 2 people that are still watching this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Oh, don't forget about Driving Home, the second channel and the podcast.